Before, kindly sit down, I'm sorry. Before we go any further, I'd like to request all, just stay where you are, and we remember in silence the late Cordova Mayor and PLLO Secretary Adelino Sitoy. The complex, which is the third bridge that connects to Cebu, was made possible because of his vision, aspirations, and for the people of Cordova, and maybe for all. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to apologize for kept you waiting here. We had to attend the 501 anniversary. There was a sort of, one is that, alam mo, sa totoo lang, I mean, even when I was a mayor, I used to frequent Manila, and also I studied there. But from what I have observed, wala ang Bisaya, wala hero. Let me be, ito informal to. Ang formal, maya na yung speech. Isa't kalahating page lang to. Mahiya naman ako na katagalin yung naghintay. Pati ko have traveled just to, una-una, kailangan magpunta ako dahil anniversary nga, the Battle of Mactan. Whatever happened there, bridge, like the water under the bridge of, anong pangalan ng bridge? You have to name it after somebody. You have to think of a good human being who journeyed here in this planet, and maybe honor him with a name, a bridge of his own. Dugay ang seremonya. Then there was this reenactment of the Battle of Mactan. Of course, it's all show. At nakita ko na, kasi itong si Lapu-Lapu ko, ewan ko totoo lang, sabi lang nila, pinsan ko daw ito. So, totoo. Nakita ko yung reenactment na talagang parang walang kalaban. Maybe it was all gory and blood, but that is how I internalize of what really happened in this part of my country. You know, I was born in Leyte, and my father is from Danao City, dito sa Cebu. We migrated to Mindanao many years ago. I think it was 1949. I was just 3 years old, to seek the greener pastures in life, or of life. So, I enjoy talagang ito pala si Magellan. Tumba na si Lapu-Lapu, natumba na si Magellan, sige pa rin siya, banat. So, according to the SOCO report, ang stab wounds daw ni Magellan was 27. Pretty kind of, so I'm proud to really be a cousin of, sabi nga nila, totoo, records lang ng maybe the memoirs of somebody. At isa pa, well, I'll go back, nawala na ako. Yung walang sila Lapu-Lapu, historically, ginawa lang ng isda. At sayang isda, she was named after a fish, you know, a species of a fish. which we eat almost. It's yung isda sa bato. You know, ito yung you can harvest them using a spear. Hindi ito deep sea. Ito si lapo-lapo, tawag niya isda sa bato. Well, matapang nga talaga. Pero ewan ko, sa totoo lang, ano ba talaga nag-udyok kay Magellan magpunta dito? Nagpunta niya doon sa Limasawa. Yung chieftain noon, maraming asawa. 5 lang ang napalang pangalan ni 5 ang asawa. So paglanding siguro ni Magellan, sabi niya, ubos naman ang mga babae dito. Why don't we look further? Nakita niya ang Cebu. Nakita niya, Governor Garcia, na mas maganda ang mga babae sa Cebu. Kaya bumaba. Well, of course, he remembered that he had also a duty to perform. Binaba niya yung cross and planted the Christianity, the religion, dito sa Philippines. That started us to the road of being a Christian, almost Christian state. I'd like to, alam mo kasi, yung Mindanao, just if you, 5 minutes, Mindanao is this Cebuano-speaking island. It's a big island, actually. Plenty of human beings there. You know, bakit na ganon? Kasi many years ago, actually, Mindanao was already Islam. Islam was there ahead of itong Christianity, ating religion. Kaya lahat doon may mga natives, yung mga Tausug, Maranao, Ublanao, Maguindanao, Cotabato, yun yung major tribes doon. Walang Bisaya na taga Mindanao. If your tongue is Bisaya or Tagalog, Ilocano, then you must have come from those places where you have that dialect in your lips. Yan ang totoo dyan. Ako, well, Mindanao na talaga ako. Tatay ko from Danao, Cebu. If you ask me, anong taba, I always reply, I'm a Cebuano. Because we, parang pedigree, we trace our, blood dito. Well, of course, my mother was Mindanaoan talaga. So yan ang nakaano sa yung bakit ganito ang laro ng buhay. So, yung pagpunta nila dito, ayun nga ang ano. Buti sa hindi sa Mindanao, ganon rin talaga. You know, if you look at it closely sa history, yung headgear nila pala po, I do not know what's the name of that in Tausug. I forgot, but alam ko. That is the headgear of the Tausug. You see, and many of the paintings, maybe, siguro from generation to generation, pass on sa memory, nilagay talaga yung tawag nating turban. Pero yung headgear niya, yan ang suot ng mga Tausug. And if you listen, just listen very carefully. The dialect of the Tausugs are far different from dito sa island of Mindanao. Hulo yun eh. It's a separate group of islands there. Makinig ka lang mabuti, you would understand or you could make out what they are talking about. Kasi ako, siguro sana, I may be able to discern something in a conversation. Pero halos pareho pati ang accent ang kung sundin mo. Yan ang history ng... So, during the Americans, after the Spaniards, they opened Mindanao for settlement. They wanted to develop Mindanao because it's a huge land. Tsaka alam na nila noon walang bagyo. They noticed no time ago na walang bagyo sa Mindanao. So it was good for agricultural exploitation. Kaya go to Mindanao. That was the catchword there. Parang naging cliche na tuloy. You repeat it, go to Mindanao because it is the land of promise. So napunta kami doon. Lahat ng punta doon, may hirap. Kasi kung meron ka lang dito, if you have about so many hectares of coconut trees, or you have the mining noon na pinakamalakas dito, long time ago, right after the war, walang opportunity. And to think that it was many years ago, higpit na talaga dito. That was right after the war. My father became the first mayor of Danao, which is Danao. Siya yung sabi na, sa pamilya na, go to Mindanao because it is the land of promise. Usahay kahilakon ko. Marami kami. But you know, God has a way of making things the way that we now see. Marami nagpunta pero yung iba naman hanggang ngayon, squatters pa rin. We have a very serious of space all throughout the Philippines. Makabahay lang. Yun ang magpunta doon. Yung iba na swerte. And maybe my father was one of the lucky ones. Came mayor here, was a governor there for 12 years, I think. And ako, yung anak, it's not really history, but part of my personal destiny. Kasi I was a prosecutor, then I became vice mayor, then congressman, then back to being mayor. I was mayor, 23 years ako mayor ng Davao City. But I always, yung trace ko, pag magtanong ako, kaya nga Bisaya, kasi nandoon tayo. Ang nauna doon, ang mga Muslim, maybe, you don't have to think for so long, ang nauna doon kasi Islam missionaries. Galing in the Middle East, travel to Afghanistan, and may magkasaktan dyan. Then travel all the way to Malaysia and down to itong Borneo at Sabah ngayon. Then some of them settled down sa Mindanao. Tried to convert the people there. Successfully, of course. Because ang inuturo ng tao, it's religion. When you talk about goodness, when you talk about fairness, you attract people and they listen. Baski dito sa ating araw-araw, politika ganun rin. Now, yun ang istorya dyan. Para malaman lang ninyo kung bakit maraming Ilocano, maraming Bisaya. The first to migrate, you know, if you look at the map of the Philippines, your right hand is the east direction. Your left hand is the west. And if you look Mindanao, just above Mindanao are the islands of Cebu, Bohol, Leyte, Samar. At dito naman sa west side, itong mga Hiligay nun, di Ilonggos. Yan ang nagbabaan. But karamihang bumaba, Bohol, Leyte, pati Cebu, nauna. Kaya yung Hilonggo dumating, pumunta sila sa North Cotabato. Doon started the quarrel there until now because of land. Space yan. Started when there was mga ano doon, mga chieftain doon. Also, ayaw nila. I made this, the subject of my speech because I want to tell everybody, mga Bisaya, tsaka yung taga Mindanao na Bisaya, tsaka yung mga kapatid kong Muslim. My mother is, that's a long story. Bagay mo say, Salam Alaikum, okay na doon, pero there's always that division of, parang, pag tinignan mo kasi ang isang Muslim, he would take sometimes offense. And it's because they are not ready to embrace that once upon a time, kanila yung Mindanao. At nung pumunta yung mga tao doon, puro Christians. And the majority is really mga Kristiyanos na. Kukunti na sila tuloy ang naging minority. But I'd like to tell everybody, including the Muslims, my mother is part Maranao. Do not take offense by just being with a Christian and sometimes being, yung glances na huwag niyo. Pati kayong mga Bisaya, huwag mo sabihin na Moros na, Moros. They are Moro. One word, Moro, it's a noun or something. Ayaw na sabihin Moros. Hindi sabihin mo, Moro ka. Moro naman talaga sila. Ano bang gusto mong tawagin? Kaya nga, naging mayor ako, kung yung mga settlement, ginawa ko mga housing, ginawa ko talaga on purpose, mixed. Dito, Kristiyanos, dito, Muslim. Sabi ko, in my time, you mix or we don't agree with each other and fight. So sa Davao, wala masyada akong problema kasi everybody is courteous to everybody. Gusto ko yung ano lang ang tama. And I always insist on that. That is why we do not have kaya ng problema sa patayan sa ibang lugar. I'd like to tell all, mga Ilocano, stop this. Kayong mga Muslim, you have to embrace the Christians there because whether you like it or not, nandyan na yan eh. At tayo ng mga Kristiyano, wala natin. This is the only planet that we have. Yan ang istorya dyan. So I'd like to relate that to you so that you'd understand kung bakit isang Bisaya na presidente have to travel here to... Ako ang nag-ground break nito eh. And I thank God for giving me a life na pag-ground break ko nitong bridge na ito, ako ang nag-inaugurate ngayon, nagputol ng ribbon with, of course, Sir Manny Pangilinan. I'd like to congratulate him and, of course, the Spanish companies who came here to help. Actually, you came here to, it's bridging people. That's, for that alone, it's maganda. Wala namang, yung mga motor vehicle dyan, wala namang ano yan, sentimento. They are inanimate kung ibig sabihin. Tao. And of course, the builders, I'd like to thank the builders, the Spanish businessmen who came to venture out. Then I'd like to thank Mr. Pangilinan for doing a great job. So enough of that. Pero sa totoo sabi ko nga, bakit mapumunta dito si Magellan? Totoo, ulitin ko lang. Punta niya doon sa Leyte, yung tip ng Leyte, i-landed in Limasawa. Tingin nila doon na lahat ng magagandang babae, nandoon naman sa chieftain doon na 5 ang asawa. That is why called Limasawa. Totoo yan. That's the history of the word. 5 ang asawa. Kaya sila yung nagdamay kay Magellan, lahat naman siguro girlfriend ng ulol ng sino siguro doon. Sabi ni Magellan, punta lang tayo ng ibang lugar, maghanap tayo na. Nakita nga nito, magagandang babae sa Cebu. Mabuutan pag yun. So, that's my story. That's the informal story, part of. Now, I would read, if you have to give me additional 3 minutes, and I'll be through. Kasi, nandito yung mga babaeng gumawa nito, baka mag-alboroto na pinagtyagaan nila ito, tapos hindi ko babasahin. So, makinig kayo. Good day to all. I am pleased to join you today for the inauguration of the Cebu-Cordova Link Expressway project, which will provide a vital link between Cebu City and Cordova, Mactan Island. I congratulate Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation, Cebu-Cordova Link Expressway Corporation, the local government units of Cebu City and Cordova on the completion of this new iconic landmark, despite the challenges brought about by the so many problems, the pandemic and Odette. Ewan ko kung maganda ito si Odette. May kilala akong Odette doon sa amin, medyo tanda naman. Your support for this administration's goal to boost regional development, provide a comfortable life for every Filipino, and realize our vision of a strongly connected nation is truly commendable. While your hard work and dedication to ensure the completion of this monumental task are equally noteworthy. It is also such an opportune and relevant time to inaugurate the CCLX as it coincides with the celebration of our ancestors' victory in Mactan more than 500 years ago. I am glad to see the sheer will and determination of our forebears being resonated in our people today as we open this transport facility to the public. This state-of-the-art infrastructure will provide a solution to the perennial traffic issues of Metro Cebu. I am hopeful that this shall likewise result in an increase in economic productivity in the province and the rest of the Visayas through safer, faster, and more convenient means of transporting goods as well as people. As President, I give my full dedication to bringing a more comfortable life for all Filipinos through sustainable, safe, and reliable infrastructures, for better mobility transport, especially that we are really crowding every space now. Once again, I assure you that no Filipino will be left behind as we steadfastly and collectively work towards a stronger and a progressive nation. Let us celebrate another victory that will alleviate the plight of our fellow Filipinos. Bago ako mag-thank you, may sasabihin lang ako. Marami kasi, so many stories woven around my character. I don't know if you like my character or not. But sabi ko, yung mga migrants, ang tatay ko, tingin niya wala masyadong decided to imagine Mindanao at that time, 1949. It was just after the war. We had to practically hack around the environment to make what is now the city. But foremost, nung tumakbo ako, there was really trouble in Davao City. Yun doon, pinakamalakas yung Sparrow nila. And we lost about something like 300 soldiers and policemen. So, when I decided to run for mayor, sinabi ko talaga, at ito nasabihin ko sa inyo, I cannot be, administering the affairs of a city when there is no law and order. Kaya ako, piskal, nakikita ko ang sitwasyon, kidnapping here, kidnapping there, dalhin sa Cotabato, tapos yung droga mataas na. At that time, ang lumalaro, ang mga barangay captains below. As the years went by, I was mayor for 23 years, nakita ko how it evolved. Nakita ko na yung droga, yung mga kaso ko minsan sa korte, nawawala yung witnesses ko. Droga to O minsan, kung pulis, kuna nilang picture ng asawa na teacher palabas, tapos ibigay nila doon sa pulis ang nag-imbestigar. Kung ganito ang sitwasyon, nabibili mo yung judge, sigurado yan, alam ko, in Manila there's one son. Sinabi ko, Supreme Court, tanggalin mo yan, 1,000 cases, not a single conviction. Kung ganito ang Pilipinas, money is very corrosive to the values of a human being. Very corrosive. Kung ganito ang sitwasyon natin, wala talaga tayong matakbuhan. And eventually, we will be like Mexico. Ganon talaga ang nangyayari. Takot ang polis, pakikitaan lang ng picture ng asawa niya naglakad kasama ang anak. Kung ikaw yung investigador, ikaw yung polis, magpunta sa mayor, gusto ko mag-transfer na lang. Tulungan mo na lang ako, makita yung picture. O minsan, outright pinapatay nila. Ay, sabi ko, ito hindi na pwede talaga. Over time, gano'n ako na, please do not do anything that will destroy my country. Do not feed our young with shabu and whatever, yung mga mayayaman, it's cocaine. Yung mayayaman, nagreklamo sila, bakit hindi niyo mahuli? May mga yate yan Ang bahay niyan, mga mansyon. May gwardya. Paano mong pulis na... Ang pulis, imbis magtrabaho, nabibigyan rin. So, it corrupts it destroys the fabric of society. Over time, kung hindi ko interdict, at least in Davao, hindi ako magyabang na ibang lugar, sabi ko, I will destroy my country and our children. I will kill you. That is my mantra. And that will be still my mantra in a few days when I go out of Malacanang. Galit talaga ako sa droga. Alam mo ang bakit sa galit sa droga? Gusto mo ng pamilya sirain, mayaman o mahirap? Gawin mo lang anak o yung asawa, bigyan mo yan. Libre yan. Ganun yung droga eh. Libre mo na. Yung mag-ano sa iyo. Kasi kung ako, nag-addict na, yung addict yung isa, siya magawa na naman na negosyo niya, magbili, para makakuha siya magamit. Tapos yung isa, ganun rin, pag nalalong na, libre, the first humans, i-cultivate nila yan eh. They cultivate. Kinokulture nila yung tao at pinapasahan ng droga. Ngayon, kung ganito ang laro, ay sabi ko, you know, I believe in God. I believe in the eternal justice of. Pero kung dito ganon, sa panahon na ito, ganon kadumi ang droga, at nandiyon pa yung mga NPA, sabi ko, we cannot exist together. Either you kill me or I will kill you. Go out of my city. Kaya doon ang Davao, hindi nga, it cannot compare to Cebu. Maganda, nauna kayo. Davao City is, matanda pa yung Cagayan, pati Agusan. Butuan is an old city. Davao is a new city. Right after Duar lang yan. So, pero nakita ko ang laro, fiscal kasi ako, I prosecute. Minsan, dumadating sa akin tawas. Pati yung putang inang polis. Hindi lang ako kasi fiscal lang ako. Hindi ko makaano yung galit ko. Kung balang araw, bigyan ako ng trabaho ng Diyos na kayo bantay sa akin. Naging mayor ako. O sabi ko, do not give me that shit. Pulis ka o ano. Putang, papatayin kita. I can harvest you all. Wala na. Patang marami. Then when I became president, ganito. Bakit? Sinasabi ko, I can clean it in 6 months. And after that, I realized na nagkamali talaga ako. Yung sobrang, maybe it's hubris. It was campaign time. Payabangan naman yung kampanya. Pagdating ko sa Maynila, dala ko yung chief of police ko, yung si Bato. Anak ka na. Pag yung binuksan na yung records, paano ako 6 generals of the PNP were playing with drugs. Sabi ko, paano tayo mabubuhay nito? Tinawag ko. Drop kayong mga NPA, kayong mga drogista. You want peace? You want, magtrabaho ka lang, then drop the gun. Kayong mga drogista, drop the drugs. Itapon mo yan at wala ka talagang problema sa akin. Ngayon, hindi na ako presidente in a few days. But if you continue to the Filipino, I might find a way really to just walang no quarter given, no quarteras. Pinapatay mo talaga eh. Sisirain mo yung mga pamilya, maghiwalay. Ang masakit sa akin, alam mo bakit? Galing ako sa pagkapobre. And I can fathom unsay sentimento sa kapobre. Pag-away pamilya, ang anak sugod nagpangawat o butang. Alam ninyo yan, nangyayari yan dito sa inyo. Mag-away na kayong mag-asawa, yung iba magkahiwalay. Kasi yan, the frequent and constant friction about the problem of a child or a daughter. Yan ang it breaks the family, it destroys the everything. Ang masakit pa nito, yung mga mahirap, Kanang mga pobre, manglangyaw ngadto sa ubang lugar. They go to just to earn a living and maybe to provide a relief of what's itong umiikot within the family. Iiwan yung mga anak sa kapitbahay, iiwan doon sa kapatid na bago lang nag-asawa, na mayroon rin pamilya. Ipag-iwan yung mga bata. Then she works there in the Middle East. Now, when I was a congressman, pumunta ako doon. Kasama ko yung mga Moro congressman. Sinabi ko, samahan ninyo ako. I went to King Fahd to plead the life babae kasi punggutan ng ulo. So, King Fahd was, at that time, hindi na masyado but he was able to comprehend through his binubulong na lang yung kung anong pinagsasabi namin. So, it was granted. Pinatay niya yung amo niya. Nung nag-usap kami sa counterpart ko, sabi nung upon the advice yung doon sa palace, you go to your counterpart and tell him about your problem. So nagpunta ako doon, parang congress nila. Pati member kasi ako ng Law and Order Committee. Yun ang kinausap ko rin, yung counterpart, yung law and order nila. Peace and order tawag dito. It's actually law and order. Peace has nothing to do with it. It's. Sabi niya, pag uwi mo, pag uli ninyo sa inyo, sabihin mo doon sa that dito sa culture nitong ibang tribo ng Arab, lalo na sa malalayong lugar sa bukid naman. Hindi kasi alam ng pobreng Pilipina kung ano. Kala niya, metropolis yung mapuntahan niya. Little do they know that they will be, sabi nung you just tell your countrymen that itong rape, when you work for a amo doon, pati or you are a slave bought from the slave market of Africa, ang rape is part of the territory. Kaya dyan ako naawa. Mayroon doon 4 years, she kept on sending the money to the family and hoping, praying to God that that money will be put to good use to educate the children. O makakain lang naman. Ang problema, after years of enduring cruelty, sexual abuse, and whatever they want to do with the body of a Filipina, pag-uwi niya dito, battered and all, sometimes out of her racks because of the constant. Kita mo mga Pilipino mag-suicide. Saan magdaan? Mag-suicide. Di ba kita mo ambak? Sirado ang portahan niya. Di sila makanaog para maghikog lang. O sulukso sila, suba para pakamatay lang. So, ang gawa nila, pagtalon talaga yan. Di ba, tingnan, nabasa mo ninyo. I'm sure you Filipinos listening now, it's being televised. Huwag na tayo magbulahan. Ganyan ang ginagawa. Masakit sa akin yan. Makita niya, pagdating niya, ang bana niya, may kabit na iba, yung padala niya ng pera, wala. At ito namang mga kayo, didikitan nila yan kasi alam nila may remittance every month or every quarter or whatever. But they know that there is, that family is receiving although pittance, but itong pera ng pinagpagura niya. Alam mo, 3 hours lang yung tulog nila. Lahat. All the cases that bumalik dito to tell her sad story. Bakit? Patapos niya maglinis ng bahay ng amo niya, maglinis pa siya ng bahay ng daughter-in-law niya, tapos may isang bahay doon sa compound sa anak ng lalaki. Anak. Kaya ang tulog 3 to 4 hours a day. Ang yung pagkain, although not all, hindi naman lahat, but I am sure that some, ako baski isa lang, of all of them, and there are about 1 million doon sa, hindi ko man mapuntahan yung sino yung mga amo nila na gusto kong patayin. I cannot do that. Dito na lang ang galit ko sa hirap ng buhay, abandoning the family, kept on sending money only to realize that all of her sacrifices or his sacrifice went to a garbage environment. Yan, maintindihan. Paalis na kasi ako pagka-presidente. Kaya you listen to me one more time. I will not be, I'm 77 years old. I'm going to retire. I cannot hope to be traveling. Hindi ako mayaman. Ako lang ang presidente na walang bahay sa Manila o you should go to Davao. Tingnan ninyo kung ang bahay ko. It was the same house that when I was a prosecutor many years ago, panahon pa ni Marcos. Ang journey ko sa gobyerno, pero yung, bakit niya si Duterte nagsabi na extrajudicial killing? Kahapon, I was reading may briefer ako every night of what transpired during the last 24 hours. Meron akong yesterday, I lost a policeman in a drug bust that went wrong. So nagkabarilan, pinatay yung pulis. Kaya yung mga human rights, pag-aralan ninyong mabuti. Tignan ninyo, huwag kayong magbandera ng papel na itong mga putang, excuse me, ito na mga matay, listahan ng patay. Tanungin mo, sino yung namatay at bakit patayan? At tignan ninyo yung pamilya, the so many thousands. Yung pag-akyat ni bato, yung nag-surrender doon na mga payat na walang kain, mga adik, that was a scene only good for Manila. Hindi kasali ang province itong Cebu. Cebu, malakas. You know, you just drop the drugs. You drop the gun, kayong mga NPA. Wala na tayong problema. Then let's build a country together. Pero kung ganun ang vision ninyo, I tried everything to talk to Season because kaming mga migrants, medyo left kami talaga. Kasi nakikita namin yung the inequality and injustice. Of course, the more of people are galit sila. Bakit? Naagaw yung lahat ng lupa nila. Karamihan yan, mga Chinese na yun, mga landed family sold everything over time. Yun ang, para masabtan ko ninyo nganong anak ni si Duterte, masama ang bunganga. Kalit talaga, putang. Let's kayo. Kasi nakita ko, hindi nyo nakita, you cannot see the bigger picture of dito. Kung magsige ka lang, magsabi pa ito, patay-patay lahat ito. Of course you will die. Pag ako na presidente, so this will continue. I will not let go of that my stand. Ba't wala akong inutusan na patay mo, naka-hands up na, nakaupo, in surrender, or whatever. That's not the work of the police. Yan, trabaho ng police, yan, trabaho ng sundalo. Pag gano'n akong police, makita kita, ikaw ang barilin ko. Basta, you just behave. You know, there are rules to be followed in life. Just follow the rules. Do not said a big F. Do not my people. Kasi kadugo ko yan lahat. Lalo nasa Danau. Puro ko pinsan yung palibot yan. So, ganyan, doon na. Ikaw mag-warning ako pagkatapos mag-retire ako, dito mag-retire. Ubusin ko kayong lahat. You know, do not do that to your fellow human being. Maawa ka. Maawa ka. You destroy a life. You know, in closing, ganito, tell you a story. Mayor ako, second term. I had about, you know, sa awa ng Diyos, I started, I was a mayor in 1988. Umakyat ako sa ladder hanggang na presidente. Wala akong talo. Sa awa ng Diyos. Wala akong talo. Diretso-diretso ako. All the years that... so sabihin, hindi ko na lang I'm sure yung iba na easy na I know that you want to go home. Ako gusto ko rin I have to fly home. Wala pa siguro maabot ba ng aeroplano nga ito kasi buto na ito sa dapit sa butuan. Okay lang, may uyab ang po nga ito. Totoo. Ako, hindi ako, I'm not pretending, wala akong pretension. Ganon talaga ako. Bastos ako. Talagang bastos ako. I am not a statesman. Nag-aral ako ng law, hindi pagka-statesman. Para maging fiscal, maging congressman, na kung gusto kong hindi lang ako mag-abuelo kasi nandyan si Archbishop. Out of respect and obedience. Yan ang istorya ko. It's a long journey but it ends with a sour note to some and maybe a relief, pati sigurado ako nagapalakpak yung mga durugista ngayon. Well, there is always a time, sabi nga ng Diyos, there's a time to kill and a time to stop. Because you are not supposed to be doing it. Yeah, there's a time to be powerful and a time to be just a nobody. I used to, in the sky, the brightest star there was mine, shining brightly. And in a few days, I will be just a Rodrigo Duterte from Danau, Cebu. Daghang salamat.